Everybody, welcome back to the next part of my dialing in series for our Line 6 Helix. Today I am getting to a tone that I've actually wanted to get to for a while. I've had a ton of requests for dialing in something in the style or in the vein of Adam Jones from Tool. Now, full disclosure, I can't say that I've ever been a huge Tool fan. You know what, I don't want to say fan, actually. I really like everything I've heard from them. I just never really listened to them for whatever reason. I don't know, when they were getting big, I was maybe into something else. I don't know what the reason is. They're a great band, fabulous, fabulous band. Everything I've heard from them, I really, really enjoy. So it's kind of funny when I get requests for things that I'm not really, I guess, personally invested in some ways. It's always kind of weird, but I always have to go give it a listen. But one tune I always really liked from them was the song Schism. Can't remember the album it's from. But anyways, or when it came out, maybe early 90s, I don't know. Anyways, always loved that song, really cool tone. Right up my alley, actually, as far as like the constantly changing, alternating time signature, odd time signatures and stuff. I write a lot of music like that on the albums that I do, and I really love that. And I like the way that even though it's odd times, that it's still, they somehow make it sound really accessible. It doesn't sound like it's just, odd meters just for the sake of odd meters. It's musical and it sounds really great and it's really accessible as far as I'm concerned. My opinion. Anyways, I thought it's about time, let's do it. And I found a great backing track online after searching around of the original tracks with no guitars. So it was really cool. So everything you hear, I do have a performance video up like normal. Everything you hear on there are the guitars from this preset. There's no, of the original guitars on there, but it's all the original tracks. So really cool. It was fun. It came out really, I thought, really good. I was really happy with this. I did a really quick internet search about Adam Jones because I really didn't know much about what he used gear-wise. So, I saw a couple different things, but it did say that at some point he used a Mesa Boogie rectifier, dual rectifier. So I thought, let's go with that. And I'm using my humbucker-equipped Yamaha RevStar 620 here. And I think I got a pretty usable tone for this. So let's dive over to HX Edit and take a look. Please go check out the performance video. I did the whole song. It was really weird because I'd never played that song before. I found a really good tam online and I basically shot the whole video in under an hour, just sight reading the parts, which was challenging. But once I got my head around the way they had arranged the song, it wasn't too bad. So anyways, go check that out. It was a lot of fun. And you'll get to hear this tone used completely unprocessed in the mix afterwards, used over the original tracks. And I was A-Bing them with Adam's original tracks on the song. And, I never say these are exact, but it was close. It was really good. I think it would fool a lot of people anyways, I think. But never do I say that it's going to be exact. So anyways, here's what we did. Let's take a look. So as you see, I used the Cali rectifier just with the stock 412 Cali V30 cab that comes up with it, with a 160 ribbon mic 3 inches back, okay? Let's start at the end here. I go with my normal standard LA Studio comp. I probably don't even have to say this anymore for me watching my videos. The only reason I say it is for those who haven't seen them before. LA Studio comp at the end, little mastering section, right? Peak reduction of 5.5, gain at 5, mix at 100%. A little bit of EQ stuff going on here. I had the low cuts at 100 hertz, the high cuts at 10 kilohertz. Low frequency of 200 hertz with a low Q, a Q of 4.8, and that's pulled back 2 dB. The big move is here in the mid frequencies. I scooped those out quite a bit. 720 hertz with a fairly wide Q of 0.3, scooped out minus 10.6 dB, pulled back. So that was kind of a interesting EQ move, but it really got me where I wanted to go for this. Nothing on the high frequency EQ. The reverb is just the stock room verb I put up. Since we're going direct with modeling, we don't get any natural room ambience, and any guitars that are recorded with microphones, unless they're in a room that's so treated there's almost no reverb, you're going to get some sort of room sound, even somewhat when you close mic and amp. So I always put that in, whether it sounds like there's a lot of reverb on the original recording or not, just to give it some sort of a sense of space that we're actually in a room playing, rather than that bone dry kind of direct sound. A lot of folks tell me, and I hear it a lot, like, why don't you use the early reflections on on the cab, and you can do that, but I find it doesn't really give me what I usually want, so I go with that reverb. Room verb, decay of 5, pre-delay of 15 milliseconds, mix of 30% does the trick. We'll come back to the delay in a second because there is a middle section, bridge section on this song, I guess we'd call it, where there's like a dotted 8th delay, and we'll come back to that and talk about that when the time comes. Low and high shelf EQ, I take all the frequencies below 650 hertz, and I pull those back 2.5 dB, and I take all the frequencies above 2 kilohertz and I add 6 dB to that, really helping it to cut through the mix. You know, remember, a lot of these EQ moves might seem dramatic on the high end, but I use ribbon mics almost all the time exclusively, pretty much all the time. There are exceptions to that. So a lot of times you do have to go add in a lot of those highs to get it to cut back through, right? High, mids, highs. And it works quite nicely. The ribbon mics, as they do in real life, really accept those upper frequencies being boosted quite a bit without getting too nasty, you know. So a lot of folks would say, oh, you shouldn't boost up, you know, those frequencies up so much. You say, well, with ribbon mic, you know, if I'm using an SM57, I'm probably not doing that. But I also end up losing sort of that nice woodiness in the bass that I really like. So that's my reasoning behind that. And here are my settings on the Cali rectifier. Drive at 4.5, bass at 0, mid at 0. Treble and presence both at 10, channel volume at 10, that's just to get the volume I needed. Master at 5.1, and these are the stock settings on the deeper functions. We already talked about the cabinet. So that's basically it. And that got me where I wanted to be. So let's do this. Let's turn everything off. Let's turn the EQ off, reverb off, and the high and low shelf. I'll keep the compressor on at the end. And here's what these settings sounded like without any of the EQing, verb and whatnot, okay? Okay, so I mean, it's a tone, right? Let's come into the end here, and I'll turn on the first EQ. So you can really hear how those mids get scooped up, but we're missing that high end to really help it cut. I'll turn the reverb on just so you can hear the difference that adds in. It's not dramatic. It just gives it a little bit of life and ambience that we need. And here is the high and low shelf, which really kind of shapes the tone to where I wanted it. Okay, really great riffs, right? I'm actually reading that off the tab here. I couldn't really remember it. Alternating 4, it's like a 6/4. Yeah, alternating 4, 4, 2, 4, something like that, however you want to think of it. But yeah, and then that main riff. Now in the middle, he has that part which goes something like. Now that obviously is very dry. This is where the delay came in, okay? So I'll turn that. Now on this preset, which will be up on CustomTone when this video comes out, I just have it set up in pedal board mode. So the transistor tape is assigned to a switch. So I'll foot switch that on, and there's our delay. If you notice, I have it set up at the tempo of the song, which is around 108. I think I just tap tempoed that in with my foot to get it to lock. And depending on the tempo you're playing at, you may have to tap tempo. That's wherever you need it. It's very important on this part, though, that the tempo is set correctly, because the dotted 8 has to be in time with the song. So I have the dotted 8th note, feedback at 0, and the mix at 40% were the parameters I changed, and that made it sound like this. Sorry, the beginning I think was a lot of time because I hadn't locked into the tempo yet. The only mistake, or I say mistake, the only thing I think that I did that I would have go back and changed on the performance video, and I meant to do it, is to roll my volume knob back a bit on that part. And I played it all full on, so it had the kind of distortion that you're hearing here. Which I think compared to the original is a little much. So what I would probably do with this is just dial this back maybe to 7 or so. Maybe a slightly bit more. Whatever that riff is. Anyways, so that works really nice, and you can play around with your volume knob. You can also play around with your volume knob depending on your guitar, right? If you have higher output pickups in this, the RS620 doesn't have super high output pickups. You might get more distortion. You might want to just roll your volume knob back for a lot of the parts. The way I was controlling it, I'll turn that delay off, in the actual performance video is I was keeping my guitar volume knob on full, but you'll have parts in this song where, you know, he's playing this riff, heavily palm muted and really kind of subdued. I didn't hold my guitar volume knob back there. I just used my technique, picking maybe a little bit softer and palm muting, which then allowed me to open it up when he goes into the parts where that same or similar riff is kind of heavier. So I would have played it correctly the first time. Anyway, so there's a lot of little things we can do in there, but we can use our hands to really manipulate that tone and our volume knob, okay? So it's just that one preset, those one set of settings, I should say, with the delay on in the middle section, and everything else is that, and just kind of controlling it with possibly the volume knob or your hands. So anyways, I hope that satisfies some of the folks who've been really bugging me for a long time, and I apologize for taking so long to get to the Adam Jones tone. And you know, that's one of them. Like I said, I'm not super intimately familiar with a lot of their stuff, but I thought that would be a cool place to start. So I hope you guys enjoy that. So that's up on CustomTone. Please take the time to go check out the performance video, which I threw together pretty quick, but I did the whole song for Schism. And it was fun, man. That was a fun tune. Right up my alley as far as the whole alternating odd time signatures and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy both. Grab the preset off CustomTone, and I hope you guys enjoy that as well. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Please like the video and share it if you don't mind, if you know anybody who would be interested in listening in. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Got a lot more interesting content, hopefully interesting content coming up in the very near future. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, and ciao for now.